Guys, welcome to my channel. My name is ReadingBear and I hope you are ready for some more stories. And today, we'll take a look at some new Entitled People content. If you enjoyed my content, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and post some bear emojis in the comment. And now, let's dive right into the stories.
First one is titled, I Don't Care a Kid Had a Car Accident, Treat Him Now. This happened a few years ago, but it's still stuck with me. I am a doctor and was working in the ER night shift around 3 in the night. With me there were one other doctor, 2 nurses, and a nice lady at the front desk managing everything. We were treating 2 people when entitled mom, M, with her nice kid, and K, 4 to 5 years, enters. The kid fell from his high bed and his knee was bleeding and his ankle hurt. They were told to wait a few minutes since we were not really busy. I'm just helping the gentleman I treated when we get the message of a really bad car accident, and 3 emergency transports are on the way to us, a child included. I immediately call 2 additional doctors, a pediatrician, additional nurses, and tell to prepare the operating rooms, just in case. So they arrive. Turns out we could treat everyone without operation except for the child. He had been injured pretty bad and needed surgery. It was looking really bad. So the pediatrician and the operating doctors rush into surgery. In the meantime, I clean a room and get to EM and NK. They have complained to the front lady 3 times in around 1 hour. Since everyone was busy, I get out to them myself to get him into my small ER room. She was fuming. M, why did we have to wait that long? Me, well, I'm really sorry, but we had a really bad emergency, and, M, I don't care. We were here first. Don't you hear my kid crying? The kid was playing quietly. He is in pain and you let him suffer. You like to do that to kids, don't you? The front lady comes. FL, is there a problem? Me, oh, I guess now I'm going to take them to treatment. Not good enough to the mother. Me, can you bring your kid in the room so he doesn't have to walk? M, don't you apologize to him? Me, listen, I'm sorry you had to wait, but I just can't see the future. There was an emergency and we had to treat them first. Please come with me now. M, but we were told we had to wait a few minutes. FL, yes, but we can't plan everything. Now, bring your kid in the room. She actually does it. The kid wasn't in pain as long as he didn't walk around, so I could start without the kid being really scared. I treated the knee. He had to wear a supportive splint for the ankle a few weeks, but that's it. This kid was very brave, didn't cry at all and asked many questions. I rewarded him with candy afterwards. So about the splint. You don't have to pay it, but you give it back when the injury is healed. She didn't want that. She wanted to keep it for whatever reason, but my shift was over and I headed home. I get it somehow. I'm a mom too, and I'm also scarred when my child is hurt, even if I'm a professional. You are both tired and don't want to hear at night. But imagine if the child in the emergency was yours and dies because of a scratched knee. Edit. The kid from the crash is indeed fine and healthy today. Next one is titled, Entitled Dad Tries to Convince the Police It's My Fault He Hit My Car. This story is from late September. I was thinking about it for a bit yesterday, and I think this story could go here. Cast. Ed, entitled Dad Ease, entitled Son is maybe my age, maybe a bit older. BC, which caught the story. It's the day after my birthday. I was stoked to exist due to the wonderful birthday I had. Unfortunately, it was a Monday, and I had to commute to my university for class. No problem since I was in such a good mood. I drive as normal, singing along to the music I was playing in my car. I took my exit as normal as well. However, when I got to the end of the exit where the stoplight is, a car ended up trying to switch lanes without signaling and ended up hitting me. You see, the exit has 3 lanes towards the end, 1 to go left, 1 to go straight, and 1 to go right. I was in the middle lane, trying to go straight, and the car that hit me was in the left lane. I was terrified because this was my first accident. I hate to say, but I'm kind of a pussy, and so I was also crying because I was that ducking scared. We pull out of the exit and go into a nearby parking lot to call the police. And now the bullcrap begins. Ed steps out of the driver's side of his car and comes over to my passenger's side window, tapping it. Why did you hit my car? Who are you to drive so recklessly? Ease, who is standing behind ED. What the hell? Do you know how much this car was? It was a Lexus, so I assumed a lot. At that point, I just lock my doors and call my dad. My dad then reassures me that everything will be okay, and to just calm down and call the cops. I do just that, but ED continues to be a prick while his son is also calling the cops. ED is just standing outside my passenger side window, holding a checkbook. He keeps telling me, "You're young. This will go on your permanent record. Can you even afford the increase in insurance? Let us give you money." When the son was done with the 911 call, he also joined his father and started being a ducking prick, yelling, "Just take the money and leave. We have places to be." I'm no genius, but I knew that if I took the money and left, they would have told the cops, who were on the way, that it was a hit and run. Thus the blame would all be on me. I just put on my headphones and waited for the cops, all the while the ED and ES were goading me to take their money and just leave. City police eventually come to the lot. When I saw the cop pull up, I put away my headphone and stepped out of my car. The cop, who was BC, walked right past me and went towards the ED and asked him what had happened. ED then proceeded to tell the BC that I hit him while merging into the center lane. When the cop came over to me, he told me that it's out of his hands since it was on state highway lines, so state police was on the way. He then had the gall to tell me, "Drive responsibly next time," when it was not my fault and without asking for my side of the story. I get back in my car and lock the door once again as I waited for state police. Again, ED and ES were at my window telling me to take their money and save my permanent record. State police eventually arrived, and they did their jobs. They asked me to tell my side, and they asked ED and ES to tell their sides. ED and ES said the same thing they told the city police, that I hit them while merging lanes. I said the opposite. The state policeman didn't take ED and ES bullcrap. The damage on our cars said otherwise. He just listened to the two who were giving smug glances back at me every once in a while. Eventually, the police let us go, and the waiting game starts for the police report and insurance claims. Fast forward 2.5 weeks, and the police report says exactly what the truth is: that ED/ES were at fault for the accident, and that they actually told the cops that they offered me money to leave, but I didn't take it. They had to pay over $2,000 for my car repair, as well as the money for my rental car. My insurance didn't even go up. In fact, it dropped due to losing the status of new driver. Next one is titled, "Recycle This." This was a few years ago, while I was working at a small cafe/bakery for a few months during a transition back to the US after working overseas for a few years. This was a nice little place in a very affluent neighborhood, and a lot of our clientele were upper-class Psalms or their less appealing counterpart, the bored, rich, empty nester housewife. Don't get me wrong, we had a few terrible parents, like this one lady who would buy her kid, 4 or 5 maybe, a hot chocolate and a cupcake, then abandon him at a table while she went across the street to get her hair done. Also, to note, we didn't have recycling bins inside the cafe, but there was a municipal recycling bin outside. Most of our regular customers would leave recyclables, glass, and plastic bottles next to the bin, easy since it was one of those places where customers are expected to clear their own tray and leave it next to the trash, and I would run them out when things were getting slow. This isn't something we had to do, but rather something I did in addition to my regular work because it was nice/helpful. Anyways, one early Tuesday afternoon, an EB and her friend saunter in from the salon across the street, clearly fresh from a manicure/pedicure, a blonde, and whatever other pampering. They looked to be 50-ish, clearly super wealthy and ready to show it. Lots of clearly visible designer brands, telltale signs of having had work done, etc. Friend grabs a table while EB comes up to the counter to get their order. She is apropos of nothing, complaining to me while I make her coffee and plate her pastries, about her good-for-nothing husband, her kitchen remodeling woes, and how she doesn't want to spend all weekend at a golf tournament. She calls me girl multiple times. As in, excuse me girl, give me 2 more bottles of water, or girls like you don't know how hard marriage is. Anyways, I am already annoyed, but I finish up her order. Just as she is about to take her tray, she glances over and notices the lack of recycling bin, clutches her pearls. Actually, it was a gold Chanel necklace, but hey. And immediately says, "Oh no, I would have ordered something else if I had realized you don't recycle." I grit my teeth and smile and tell her I would be happy to collect any recyclables and take care of them, pointing out that there was already a bottle in the designated recycle spot. So she took her stuff, went back to her table, and continued to complain loudly to her friend about golf and husbands. Now, as they were getting up to leave, I happened to be wiping down the table next to them. Rather than bussing her tray, There are signs notifying the customers to kindly do this. She shoves her whole tray, still with used napkins, half-eaten food, etc., in my hands, says thanks for recycling this, blows me a kiss, and walks out, loud buttons clacking. Y'all, there were napkins that I am pretty sure she blew her nose in, the half-finished coffee was spilled on everything. For some reason her lipstick had rubbed off everywhere. That tray was a mess, and none of it ended up getting recycled, because I had crap to do and didn't want to pick through her grossness. I never did see that particular customer again, and I'm sure it's not the most satisfying EB story, since she never did get her comeuppance. I guess the moral of the story is to follow the directions given by the signs, and don't take advantage of the goodwill of service industry folks. Last one is titled, Entitled Parent is Trying to Create a Car Crash so he can get home early. So, me and my sister were on our way home. She will be called S in this post. She is 7, this is more important later. So today, I wanted to surprise S since I just had gotten the driver license and she was super excited. So I surprised her with a car trip to a circus that we're in town this week. Everything was great and S was super happy that I took her out on a trip. And she got really happy when I told S about the circus. So after the circus, S wanted some ice cream, which I bought to her, and she was even more happy. And introduce EP and EK, Entitled Parent and Entitled Kid. On our way home, there was a big queue on the road. There were barely any movement at all, but S was happy and we just chatted the time away. But at a point in this queue, the road went from 2 lanes to 1 lane. This was probably what was causing the queue, but I won't speculate that much in it. But as I was driving very slowly into the next lane, the car behind me honked at me. Since the queue was barely moving, I was shocked. What could I have done wrong? And here comes EP running out of his car and knocks on my window. I just look at him with a shocked face. He then runs in front of my car and starts yelling, "How dare you drive in front of me like that? That spot was clearly my place." I open my window and say a bit frustrated, "No, you didn't drive forward, so I took the opportunity to get in front. Me and my sister just wants to get home." He is furious. He comes to my window and yells a lot of stuff like teenagers shouldn't drive, the kid is in danger, and so on. I just close my window and try to calm down S, as she is shocked and almost crying because she is so scared. The EP finally leaves my window and goes back to his car. After 20 minutes, the road is starting to flow, as we got out of the choke point of the road. We then get into a speed of 60 km/h. I can't use freedom units, and S is more calm now. But no, we are not rid of the EP. I recognize his car driving behind me. I don't think much of it. But then, after maybe 40 seconds, he starts driving past me and fast. Maybe 80 plus km/h, and then lays his car in front of mine. And then, he hits his brakes hard. He stops 100%. Luckily for me, I felt he was up to something, so when I saw the brake lights, I immediately hit the brakes. I managed to stop, barely not hitting him, since he drove so long in front of me, but the car behind me hit mine a little. But I barely noticed, and I could not care less for that. Then the EP and EK comes out of the car. EK is about same age as S. The EP, in the middle of the road by the way, is now screaming to me through my window, "You could have killed us, you almost crashed into us. I'm calling the police." I just laughed and said in as normal voice as I managed, "If you call the police, you will probably lose the case because I got 2 cars behind me that saw everything." He then turns red and waits for a few seconds. Then he shouts, "What about my kid? EK could have gotten serious injuries, you should apologize." Then I just gave the EK a smile and said, "You alright, kid?" EK nodded his head. Then I looked at EP and said, "You just drive home now, and don't try to kill EK again, alright?" He looked at me with an angry look and red as a tomato. He then just walks to his car and drives it fast. After this happened, I walked out to talk to the car behind me and explained everything to them. They understood everything and told me it was all right. I drove home and told my mom everything. She told me it was no problem with the little bulk in the back and it wasn't my fault. But that was seriously dangerous. Both EP and EK could have died if I drove faster. And luckily his brakes weren't as effective as mine. Thanks for listening.